Hey guys, it's Licious Kid from ClimaxCombo and we're back with another Leaks of the Week. This week we're continuing off with Dog Days and Symphogear. This is the final week for Dog Days, so they've already showed a lot of good cards for Dog Days, so this week is not that exciting. But this week for Symphogear, they continue to show some really good cards. So I guess with that out of the way, not much else to say, so let's get to it. So first off, we have this 1/1 3KR, A Hero's Rest, Rebecca, Hero and Book. The character or your other character in the middle border of your center stage get the following effect of this card cannot be chosen as a target for your opponent's card effects. Then it's also a level assist in front of only for hero and royalty though. And lastly, it has a shift level 1. This Rebecca I think is fairly good. She has the hero trait, which is fairly good. Also, the character in the center spot gains hexproof, so they cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Pretty good nowadays, especially with anti-damage, anti-change, and wind triggers. And we know that anti-change and anti-damage is fairly relevant nowadays. So, and they do have an early level 3 that can come out at level 2, and it's also in yellow, the level 3 Rebecca that comes out at level 2, that synergizes with the level 0. So the fact that the same color has a way to give that Rebecca hexproof makes it very nice. So overall, I think it's really good. Her first ability is really good. Her second ability is also really nice because it is a level assist, and level assist is always good to have. This one's only for heroes and royalty, but like I said in the previous videos, hero and royalty, there's a lot of good cards for those traits, so it should work out fairly well, and it's fairly easy to get. It has a whole clock shift thingy. So yeah, overall, I think Rebecca's a really solid level assist. I'm not too sure what other level assist they have for yellow, but I think this one is a fairly good one, so overall, this card definitely has my seal of approval. Definitely, I would consider running 1 or 2 if I'm running yellow, because I think it's really good. Really good synergy with the level 3 Rebecca. Anyways, on to the next guy. Not so good card. Think it's a guy, girl, not too sure. 1/0 common, 4/5 exploring the sky sea, Jaun, animal and weapon. So he has a weird effect. When your other characters are placed from your stage to your clock, choose one of your characters and it gains plus 3k until the end of the turn. I don't think we've seen too many cards that send themselves from stage to clock. So I'm not too sure how good this card is. Maybe in the other set, there's cards that send themselves from stage to clock, but I can't really think of any. So I don't think this card is too practical, and even if it was, I think it's a little too much work. So I don't really like this guy. So overall, I don't think this card is very good, and it doesn't have my seal of approval. I think it's pretty bad. I would stray away from this card. If I am missing some obvious synergy, then do let me know, but I don't think it's very good. Next up, double R, 3/2 11k double R, 3 soul 11k, ridiculous. Bonds with her junior Chris, music and weapon. This is the first double R we've seen for red. So what she does is, when this card declares an attack with the climax Mega Death Fuga. Mega Death Fuga is this 2k1 right here. There's a climax rare. You may deal when this card declares attack with a 2k1, you may deal 1 to your opponent. Of course, this damage can't be cancelled. It has another effect of, during your opponent's turn, when you do not cancel any damage that is dealt to you and this card is on your center stage, you may look at the top card of your deck and either leave it on top or place it to the waiting room. And lastly, it has the same recollection ability that all the level 3s we've seen so far have. Recollection during the start of your Encore phase. If you do not have an Ignite module in your memory, place this card to your waiting room. Chris, I think, is a fairly solid card. She has she's burn 1 on attack with a 2k1, fairly good. 2k1 is 2k1, 2k1 is really good. Helps you maintain that hand size, and on attack you could deal 1 to your opponent. It's costless, so it's not too shabby. Also, she does have 3 soul, so like if your opponent so if you 2k1 the Chris herself, you can like side for 1, because she does have 3 soul. So against level 3, you can side for 1 and then continue to burn 1 on attack. Or you can burn 1 on attack and then side for 1, which I think is really cool. I think the 3 soul really helps for like precise damage at the end game. because she has 3 soul, I kind of wish she kind of comboed with the gate, because that way if you play multiple Chris's, you can like side multiple times and try to like deal 1 damage and side for 1 damage. I think that would have been really cool if she comboed with a 1k 1 soul gate, probably, since it's red. I thought that would have been really awesome. And she's in red, and she's the level 3, so her comboing with the gate I could totally see, but I guess not. So oh well, in the end, she combos with the 2k1. You know, having her 3 soul is definitely hit or miss. She can side for 1, but you know, her always attacking for 3 soul. If you front a lot of times, or maybe many times, your opponent may cancel the 3 soul damage. So of course, having extra soul always a upside and a downside. So you know, you just have to play around it. But she does combo the 2k1. I just kind of wish she comboed with the gate, but that's not really relevant here. Anyways, her climax combo is fairly solid. Her second ability is also very solid. I still haven't had a chance to play against my friend Russell with his new Charlotte deck. He's just too busy. We haven't had a lot of time to meet up. But from what I hear, the second ability, I hear people online saying that the second ability is actually fairly good. Like I said, I haven't played it against myself yet. I plan to play with him a lot during the winter break, which is coming fairly soon, or maybe this Thanksgiving break I'll be able to see him. But it seems, like I said, I don't personally have experience with the second ability yet, but from what I hear, it's fairly good. So I'll trust what everyone's saying, and her having the second ability is quite nice, very similar to the level 3 Yusa and the level 3 Kaede from Cinderella Girl, and of course the level 3 Yusa from Charlotte. So very similar to that, and people are saying those cards are pretty good, so I assume this one is no exception. So she has the 11k body, which makes her very durable. So her being fairly durable with the secondary ability should definitely help you keep staying alive. So overall, fairly good. High stats, the 3 souls hit or miss, a fairly decent climax combo that's costless. A fairly decent second ability that helps you stay alive. Of course, all of this awesome ability, she does have a downside, and just like all of them, if you don't have a Ignite module in your memory, it goes to the waiting room at the beginning of your Encore phase. Not too hard, since we've seen like cards that bond for Ignite modules, and yeah. And of course, she does have her own Ignite module, 2-1 uncommon, the red Ignite module, just like the red event from Nisekoi, and very similar to the red event in Madoka. Pay 1, choose up to 2 music choose up to 2 music characters in your waiting room, return them to your hand, then discard a card, and then place this card to your memory. So really good. The red event in Madoka is definitely a staple. The red event in Madoka or Nisekoi is not so much. You have to tap the 2 characters, and honestly, as easy as that sounds, sometimes it's just not possible. But this one is really good. You don't have to rest any characters. It's a 2-1, very standard, just like the Madoka event. And pay 1, salvage 2, ditch 1, send it to memory. Very, very good Ignite module. So definitely a good one. So I would definitely consider this one. So the yellow one and the red one seem pretty good so far. So definitely you can consider one of those 2 as your Ignite modules of choice. So overall, Chris, I think is a really solid card. Definitely double R worthy. And I think it's definitely going to be a staple level 3 for the red builds to come. That's it for Monday. On to Tuesday, 1-0 uncommon, summoning the legendary hero. So what this does is search your deck for up to 1 animal and up to 1 hero character. Show it to your opponent, add it to your hand. Then you must discard a card, and then shuffle your deck. Then you place this card to clock. This event's not too shabby. You get to search 2, but of course in the process you have to discard a card, and then the event itself goes to clock. So you do break even in the end, because the event is 1 hand size, and then you have to discard a card. But then you do search 2 characters, so it is a break even. So it's like you're clocking yourself 1 damage to break even. I don't think that's too bad at all, because you get to search for an animal and a hero character. Like I said, there's the main traits for this set seem to be animal, hero, and royalty. And the fact that it grabs an animal and a hero card, I think is fairly good. You can grab something like the Rebecca. So I think that's so she grabs some fairly solid traits. But then the downside is you do clock yourself. But you do get to hand fix, you get to thin out your deck, and you get to search cards, and you do clock yourself 1. So in the early and mid stages of the game, I think it's really good. But of course, at level 3, use it at your own discretion. Use it responsibly. So overall, I think it's a fairly solid event. I don't think it's really mandatory, but I definitely think it's definitely worth considering. So you can run maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 of these events. I'm not too sure about 4, but definitely a couple events. I don't think would hurt your deck at all if you have enough animal and hero characters to sustain it, but I think that wouldn't be too hard at all to accomplish. Next up, we have this 1-0 backup uncommon, the Lion Princess's Arranged Marriage. Very interesting. So it's a counter. When you have 6 or more stock, you cannot play this card from your hand. So what this event does is you can look at the top 4 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 animal or hero character amongst them, add it to your hand, and discard any remaining cards to your waiting room. So it has the whole Akatsuki effect, which is really good. However, it has the wonky downside of you can't have 6 or more stock when you play this climax, or when you play this event, which is kind of meh. But I guess the most interesting thing about this is that it is a backup. So like you can kind of use this backup event to like compress yourself, or like if you're not confident that you're going to cancel, you can use this event when you're getting attacked, so that way you can try to like hit a lot of characters off the top of your deck, and then that way the next cards on top after you mill the top 4 can be climaxes. Like for example, if your opponent has 3 characters and you have 3 characters, it's your opponent's turn, they attack you once, you cancel, they attack you twice, you cancel, they attack a 3rd time, you cancel 2 times in a row, and then maybe they trigger like a double soul. And maybe you're not so confident in canceling the 3rd hit because you're not that confident you're going to have 3 climaxes on top in a row on top of your deck. Then you can play this event assuming you have 6 or less stock. And then you can look at top 4. And then if they're all characters, that's really good because that way that's 4 less damage you took. But of course, this can backfire on you because if you use it like that, then you may hit climaxes off the top of your deck, and then you might, make yourself take more damage. Of course, there are other situations like it's your turn, you attack 3 times. If you like trigger 3 climaxes, and then you don't have that many climaxes in your deck, you can kind of use these like pseudo brainstorms on your opponent's turn. They attack, play the event, mill like 4 characters, and then you take damage. They attack again, play another event like mill 4. 4 characters take the damage, so it's kind of like you can kind of use it like a pseudo brainstorm on your opponent's turn, which I think is fairly neat. So overall, I think this event is fairly interesting. I just really wish it didn't have the downside of, you can't play if you have 6 or more stock, and it's fairly easy to get 6 or more stock too. So I'm not too sure how I feel about this card. I don't think I would personally run it, but yeah, I don't think I personally run it because of the downside of if you have 6 or more stock, you can't play this. Because if you have 6 or more stock, this card is completely dead, and yeah, and you might not always want to use this effect. So like even if you have like less than 6 stock, and if you have the event, you might not even want to play it. So like, I don't know. I think it's really interesting, and I think it can be fairly useful, but I think the first part is just too much of a downside. So I personally don't like it. But I do think it's interesting, and I do think it's playable. So I think this is a card you have to kind of just see with playtesting. So maybe in playtesting or in practice, it's actually pretty good. But in my opinion, I think it's okay, and I don't think I'd personally run it. Next up, we have this 105KR, Fighting to Protect Hibiki music. Oh, this card is fairly good. When this card is played from hand to stage, if you have 2 or more music characters, this card gains plus 2k power. So fairly standard. We've seen lots of cards like this. There's like the Eddie PR from Love Live has this. The Nozomi from the TD from Love Live has this. A lot of other cards have this. I just can't think of it. So on play with 2 or more music characters gets plus 2k. The Luca from Diva does have this, I do believe. So really easy conditions to fulfill, but of course she's only strong on offense, and on defense she's only 5k. But the reason why I think this card is fairly good is because of the next card right here. 00500R, one who understands Hibiki Miku, music trait of course. So she has a pay 1 bond for fighting to protect Hibiki, which is the first card we just saw. But she has another continuous ability of all your other fighting to protect Hibiki gets plus 1k. So if you have one of these Mikus along with one of these Hibikis, let's say you play the Miku first, you bond for the Hibiki, then you play the Hibiki will get the plus 2k, so it should be a 107k, and then with one Miku, she's a 108k, and let's say you have like 2 500 assists in the back, then she'll be like a 109k. Fairly solid, especially for a level 1 that's costless. And Miku does make this Hibiki a little sturdier on defense because this is a continuous ability. And of course, the ability just gets that much better with multiple Mikus. So very similar to the Kyoko Saiga combo. Uh, very similar because it's only a pay 1 bond for this, and this one gives 1k power to the Hibiki. The only difference is the Hibiki is only 500 less power compared to the Saika, and I think that's a fair trade-off because she's a 107k on offense. So I think this is really good. Definitely a very solid level 1 lineup for yellow. I would highly consider running this combo for a level 1 lineup for yellow in your Symphogear GX decks, or just Symphogear decks, because I think it's really good. The Bond helps you maintain advantage, and these two cards, and the Hibiki puts up a really strong fight for a costless character, and definitely does deserve some respect, and might, should probably force a backup at level 1. So overall, really good. And like with this, and the level 1 double R that we saw in the first leaks of the week, or the first week for Symphogear, I think this is already like a really solid level 1 lineup for Symphogear. They have the 1-0 that combos with the Flare Trigger, really good, and then they have now they have this Hibiki that combos with that has a bond target and is really strong on offense. And they have the 1-0, or they have the 1-1 Yellow Ignite module that gives 2k. So overall, I think Yellow is looking really strong. The level 1 lineup for Yellow is fantastic. They have a runner from the old set, and they have a plus Brainstorm from the previous set. So overall, I think, as of right now, Yellow looks to be like a fairly staple color for Symphogear. And I think Hibiki's the main character, so I think it makes sense. So yeah, really good. Next up, Tsubasa 00500 Double R, Music and Weapon, Emergency Participation Tsubasa. This card is fairly good as well. When this card is played from hand to stage, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a music character, add it to your hand and discard a card. And then it has another on-play ability of, when this card is placed from your hand to the stage, you can pay cost, which is pay 1, discard a card. If you do, search your deck for 1 music character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. So overall, this Tsubasa has a ton of utility. The first effect is very nice. It's a free hand fix, on play, reveal top if it's a music character, which is most likely going to be. You add it to your hand and discard a card. Very common ability. Lots and lots of cards have this effect already. And she has the nice on-play generic search. Pay 1, discard a card, search your deck for a music character. Add it to your hand. I'm not too sure if Symphogear already had an on-play generic searcher, because like I said, I'm not that familiar with the set. If they didn't, then this card is like a really good addition. If they did, then it's kind of like meh. But overall, even if they did have a generic searcher in the previous sets, I think this one definitely takes the cake, because it's a generic searcher plus a free hand fix on play, a free potential hand fix on play. So really good utility, really good way to manage your hand. Definitely could double R kind of hurts, but I think it's kind of double R worthy. So overall, I would definitely consider running this Tsubasa in any Symphogear deck, any color, because the utility this card offers is just too high. You can definitely just play her for her first effect and not use her for her second effect, or you can use both effects on the same turn. Just a ton of utility and a good way to keep your hand clean of climaxes, and just really solid card. Definitely consider running I'd say 2 to 3 of this Tsubasa in any of your Symphogear decks. Maybe 4? No, I wouldn't run 4. I would say 2 to 3. Yeah, I wouldn't run 1. Definitely 2 to 3. I'd personally probably run 2. Anyways, that's it for that card. Really solid. And that's the last blue double R, huh? Yeah, that's it for blue double Rs. So all that's left is one more red double R for Symphogear. Anyways, on to the next cards for Wednesday. 1500 uncommon, searching for the hero Garu. Animal and royalty. So he's a shift, level 0. He has a brainstorm where pay 1, put him to rest. Mill top 4 cards of your library, put them to the waiting room. For every Climax Monsters card, perform the following action once. Choose 1 card from your clock, return it to your hand, then clock yourself 1 damage. Garu, he's okay. He's a clock brainstorm, which is really nice. Or he's a plus brainstorm, which is really nice. But we saw the plus red brainstorm with Midhi a couple weeks back, and I think that one's just better because it's a salvage brainstorm. Clock brainstorm is nice because it allows you to grab, other cards like climaxes and events. And we've seen this set does have some climax or some events, so like the 1-0 event. But I personally just stick to the Midhi level. I stick to the Midhi brainstorm because I think that one's a lot better and it's a lot cuter. And that one's level 0 as well, so you can splash her into any of your Dog Days deck. That one's double R though, so I guess if you want to keep like your deck budget or you just really like Clock Brainstorm, then I guess this Garu would be better. I mean, he has to shift, so I guess it's easier to grab. But honestly, I would just stick to the Mealy Brainstorm because I think that one's way better. So unfortunate, but not I'm not a fan of Garu. I think there's better brainstorms. And there's a guy. Must have as little guys as possible in all your decks. Anyways, let's go on. 003K common. The Lion's Arranged Marriage Leo, Animal, and Royalty. When your opponent has 2 or fewer characters in his center stage, this card gains plus 1k power, so it can be 4k. And it has another ability of when this card is played from hand to stage, choose up to one of your characters in stand and put them to rest. This level 0, I'm not really feeling. It's oversized, which is really nice, and the oversized conditions is not too hard to achieve because your opponent only needs to have 2 or fewer characters for her to gain the 1k. So your opponent would have to commit 3 cards on their field to make her 3k. But even if your opponent does have 3 or more characters, Leo is still fairly strong. She's still 3k, which is an okay amount of power. It's vanilla power, so it's not too weak. However, you have to put a card from stand to rest, and might not always be possible at level 0. At level 0, you might not be able to do so because you don't have anything else to rest. Like if this is the only level 0 in your hand, and then you play her, and then you have to put her to rest, then that really sucks, you know. So the second ability I think is what kills it, but that's understandable because she's fairly strong with her condition, and she's fairly strong without her condition as well. So it's understandable, but I think the second ability kills it because, like I said, you might not always have something to stand. And even the later stages of the game, like this might backfire on you because at the later stages of the game, your beater level 0 cards usually just act as a card you play on like an empty slot or like another, or in front of another level 0 your opponent controls, and then you just use it to gain yourself some stock and try to deal damage to your opponent. But if you like brainstorm, if you tap your 2 back row and then you play this Leo and then you're forced and you can't tap like something in your back row, you're forced to tap something in your front row. That really sucks because you're losing out on an attack just for this Leo. So I think for that reason I think it's bad because at level 0 the tapping another character might not be possible, and in later stages of the game same thing, you might not be able to tap another character efficiently for this Leo to work out. So overall, I don't recommend this Leo. I mean, for green, we already know they have a runner, and that's a good way. And like, if you need to splash green, running the runner is really easy. It's a really easy way to splash green into any of your Dark Days deck. And also, just like the runner itself is a pretty good level 0. I'm sure you could like use the runner and another level 0 in conjunction to gain advantage at level 0. So overall, I really don't recommend this Leo. It's only a common, so it's understandable, but nice try, but no cigar. Next up, we have this fairly interesting wonky archetype for Symphogear. These alchemy characters. I don't know if they were a thing in the past. I know, like, in the previous Symphogear sets, they have the whole noise archetype. They're kind of like the cockroaches for Symphogear, or they're very similar to the cockroaches in Terraform Mars. I'm not too sure if it was a thing already, but or I don't know if it's new, but overall, I think these alchemy cards are fairly interesting. But let's go over them. 00500R, auto score Luier. I can't really pronounce that. I'm probably saying that wrong. Anyways, what she does is when this card is reversed in battle, you can pay cost, which is pay 1, clock yourself. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 alchemy character show to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So obviously this effect is really good. However, of course, only for the alchemy characters because she can only grab alchemy characters. The alchemy deck is kind of a thing, so if you're running an alchemy deck, this is definitely going to be a 3 or 4 of. Onto the more alchemy cards. 1045 uncommon auto score Farah, Alchemy, and Doll. When this card is played from hand to stage, this card gets power plus X until the end of the turn, where X is the number of alchemy characters you control by 500. So with a full field, she does include herself. She will be a 107k. And she has another ability of when this card is reversed in battle, you can pay cost, which is 1. If you do, send this card to memory. So not too fairly easy, a fairly cheap way to send herself to memory, and sending herself to memory is good because it does increase your compress, but there's also another card that synergizes with her when she gets sent to memory, which we'll see in the next day. So do keep in mind, she can send herself to memory, and it's not too hard to either. So, you play her, she's pretty respectable power, you kill something, the next turn she's really weak, but that's no problem because when she dies, you send her to memory. So, pretty cool card, and it's only uncommon. Next up, 1500 uncommon auto scorer Micha, Alchemy and Doll. It's a level 0 Suicider. And also it has another ability of when this card is reversed in battle, you can pay cost if you do, which is 1. If you do, place this card to your memory. So just like the Farah, really easy way to send herself to memory. And she does, card does synergize with her when she's in memory, which we'll talk about the next day as well. But overall, really solid. Level 0 Suicider and can send herself to memory. You can even run this in your normal Symphogear GX decks, or your normal your music-based Symphogear decks, because she's still level 0 Suicider, which is like, you know, level 0 Suicider. And when she dies, you can pay 1 and send herself to memory. No card synergizes with her when she's in memory, but because she's in memory, she does compress your deck by 1 for the rest of the game when you do send her to memory. So, not too bad. I think it's a kind of cool way. I think it'd be like a cool tech you could run in your Symphogear decks, but I don't think people are going to be running it because she is missing the very important music trait. And there are other pretty good Suiciders in the set, like from the first booster, I think it was a double R, the 0/0 Suicider that on play or on death, I think you pay 2 and salvage a Tsubasa, and we've seen good Tsubasa cards now, so that will probably be the Suicider of choice still. But I just thought I'd mention it that you can run her in your music-based Symphogear decks. Anyways, next card 0/0 Autoscore Gari, I don't know, 1500 uncommon Alchemy and Doll. When this card declares an attack, choose one of your other characters, gains +1 level and +1k. And has another effect of when this card is reversed in battle, reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is an alchemy character, you may place this card to your memory. So this card, of course, once again, like the other two, when it's in memory, it does gain some synergy with the next card we'll talk about the next day. And this card is the most cost-effective card that sends itself to memory. The other two, you have to pay 1 to send themselves to memory. That's not expensive at all, but I mean, paying 1 is paying 1. However, Gari is free. Of course, all you have to do is reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's an alchemy character, you put it to the memory. Shouldn't be too hard to accomplish if you're running a pure alchemy deck. And also, we haven't seen really any real alchemy-based events. So, unlike the normal Symphogear decks that does have a lot of events, this one doesn't run any events, so should be more consistent than like a normal music deck for this set. So her condition to send herself to memory is really, really easy. If you're running 4 of her, it's totally like plausible that you send all 4 of those in memory in one game because it's just so easy to do. So I think I really like this card for that very reason. The fact that it's it's pretty much free to send it to memory. I love it. I love cards like that. And also on attack, you give a character +1 level and +1k. An okay ability. The +1 level is nice to get over suicides, and the +1k is an okay amount of power. Of course, this is obviously used for your alchemy decks, but just like the last card, you can technically run her in your music decks because the ability to give 1k power and +1 level is to any character, so you can like run it. You can like attack with this, give your level 3 Chris like +1k. I just thought I'd mention it, but I don't think people are going to be using it because once again, she's missing the ever so important music trait, and there's other really good level 0s you could be running in this set, but just thought I'd mention it. Next up, more Dog Days, 001k, common, a hero appears, Sync, hero and sports. So what he does is when this card is placed from your hand to stage, you can pay cost, which is discard a card, or discard a climax from your hand, excuse me. If you do, choose one character from your waiting room whose level is equal to your, equal or lower to your current level, and then return it to your hand. So really, really solid card. Cards with the whole discard a climax to salvage a card. Really, really, really useful. It's such a good way to keep your hand clean of climaxes. If you have like 2 or 3 climaxes in your hand, just dump a couple of these before you refresh, and then that way you can just keep your hand clean of climaxes. Very, very nice. If your set has this, if your set has a card similar to this, then I would highly recommend running at least 1 because it's just such an easy way to clean your hand of climaxes. Like Nisekoi has one, the Tachibana. I love that card. I run 2 in all my builds because I just think it's a really good way to keep your hand clean. Of course, this one's a little different because you have to salvage a character that's equal or lower than your current level. I don't really know why they did that to this card. Kind of butchers it a little. Maybe because it's a common. I really don't know. I think it would have been perfectly fine if it was just like the other ones, like the Tachibana from Nisekoi. And the one from Nisekoi is 1500 power. So why is he? And the Tachibana has 2 effects. So why is he only 1k power and has 1 effect, and he has a butchered version of the normal one? Kind of dumb. But oh well, what can you do? Overall, still, even though it's not as good as like the Tachibana from Nisekoi, still, like I said, I think it's good. You could definitely consider running one or two of these. A good way to keep your hand clean of climaxes, and I don't think you can go wrong. Like I said, you can only grab characters that are equal or lower than your level, so you can't really prepare for the future levels. But overall, like I said, I still think it's fairly solid. The main purpose is to discard climaxes and to get some use out of it at the same time. So, highly recommend at least running one. I think it's fairly solid. And he has the hero's trait, which is good. Next up, 00500R Lost Girl Aria, Priestess and Music. So it's a 500 in front assist. It has another effect of you can pay 2, place this card to rest. If you do, search your deck for one animal or hero character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. This idea is not too bad. 500 in front assist and pay 2, tap itself to search for an animal or hero card. Nothing too special, but it's not too bad either. I think it's a fairly solid card. But we've seen a lot of like good back row cards already. Like for yellow, you have the Covert level 0. For red, we have like the level 0 Midahi. So there is some competition in the back row. And I'm not too sure if the other sets have other really good back row characters. But for blue, I think this is really good. 500 in front assist, and you can pay 2 to search your deck for an animal or hero character. Like I said, a lot of good animal and hero cards. So you should be able to grab a lot of good cards in your deck. And I do believe, I think the level 3 Shadow was an animal, right? So if you're running like red-blue, you can grab her. So overall, a really solid card. Only thing she's missing is the good traits. She's not like animal, hero, or royalty, which kind of bites. But if you have plenty of animal or hero characters, and if you want a level 0 assist, this card you can definitely consider because she's a really good level 0 assist. Next up, 3/3 Karu Maris Dienheim. Carol Malis Dienheim. I'm probably saying that wrong. Anyway, she's alchemy, so this is the card that synergizes with all those other alchemy characters. So what she does is she has recollection when you have an auto score lure, which is this card. Oh, I'm sorry. This card is pay 1, clock yourself center to memory. Sorry, so she sends herself to memory as well. Anyways, when you have the lower in memory, and you have Farah in memory, if you have Micha in memory, which is her, and then if you have Gadi in memory, so if you have all 4 cards, which we talked about yesterday, in memory, she loses 1 level and 2 costs in your hand. How cool is that? Anyways, and when she's played from hand to stage, you heal. And for the last ability, it's an act ability, so you can use it during your main phase. You can pay 1, place 1 alchemy character from your memory to your waiting room, and she gains the following effect of until the end of your opponent's next turn, this card gains plus 1500 power, and the following effect of this card cannot be targeted by your opponent's effects. So this Carol, I think, is just super awesome. I think it's a really fun boss monster for the alchemy decks. To get her out at level 2 is kind of hard, but not really. You need to have at least one of each. You need to have one of each of these in your memory, but that's not too hard to accomplish. Like this lore generates you advantage. This Farah, you pay 1 cent to memory, but it probably kills something in the process. This Micha, same thing, and this Gadi, sending herself to memory is fairly easy. So I think this card can come out fairly easily before at level 2 because you just need to have one of all those in memory. Of course, with Lure, getting all the other pieces to memory shouldn't be too hard because if Lure dies, you can grab like if Lure dies and then you don't have Micha, you can just like grab a Micha, you know. So I don't think it's too hard getting this off. And when you do, I think you get a lot of benefits. It only costed you 1 because it loses 2 costs because its base cost is 3. So you pay 1 for a 10k level 3 at level 2, and it heals on play. Like that's just super crazy. Also, you can pay 1 and send 1 alchemy character from your memory to your waiting room, and she gets plus 1500 power, which is alright. But I think the most important part is that it cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effects, and so it stops them from bouncing her. It stops them from anti-changing her, which is a really big one. And I think that alone is very important. If your opponent's set does have anti-change, or if your opponent's running a lot of wind triggers, I would highly consider using her third ability every turn if you can, because keeping her protected is, I think, very, very, very important. And it does last till the end of your opponent's turn. So, like, if you attack with her, and then it's your opponent's turn. If they attack, they trigger a wind trigger. It doesn't work on her because it does last to the end of their next turn. So overall, really, I think it's a really strong card. At level 3, it's fairly lackluster because all she really is just like a healer and like an 11-5 attacker. Fairly lackluster at level 3. But at level 2, I think she is quite at level 2, I think she is quite menacing. 11-5 with hexproof, and all you need to do is have all 4 of these in your memory, which like I said, I don't think it's too hard to accomplish. It doesn't seem too hard to accomplish, but I'm sure in practice it's a different story. So we'll just have to see. I think the main target for since you have to send an alchemy character from your memory to the waiting room, I think the one that you'll probably be sending off is definitely the Gadie, because her sending herself to memory is free. Unlike the other 3. The other 3 you have to pay 1, this one you have to clock, but all of them have a cost of some kind. Gadie, you just have to reveal an alchemy character, and then it goes to memory. So I think this is definitely the easiest one to get multiples of in memory, and because she's so easy to have multiple of in memory, I think she is definitely going to be the prime target for you to send to your waiting room for the cost for her 3rd ability. So overall, I think it's a really fun boss monster to give to the alchemy deck. Definitely gives a good incentive for people to run an alchemy deck, and all of these are like really cheap. This is an R, uncommon, or rare. So if you're making if you're buying 6 or 5 boosters for your Symphogear decks, you can totally make a normal music deck, and then you can totally make a joke for funsies alchemy deck, because these are just commons and rares. So you can totally just gather all of them up and make a fun alchemy deck, or sell off the alchemy deck for I don't know, $10 maybe, because why not? So yeah, I think it's really fun and really cool, and I totally like this card. I think it's awesome. Next up, more alchemy cards. That's not really an alchemy character. 2/1/7K uncommon Alchemist Carol alchemy trait, of course. She climax combos with the gold bar here, which is a climax common. So when this card declares an attack with the gold bar, or I'm sorry, when the gold bar is placed from your climax border, and if this card's in the front stage, you can pay cost, which is 1. If you do, switch your deck for up to 3 alkanoids and place them onto separate borders on your stage, and then shuffle your deck. She has another effect of when this card declares an attack and the character opposite of this is level 3 or higher, she gets plus 3k until the end of your opponent's next turn. I guess we have to know what the alkanoid is first to see if this Carol's worthwhile, and the alkanoid is right here, 3k alchemy and noise. Common card. So you can run as many of these as you want in your deck. So very similar to the cockroaches and the Hidias from what's that set called? Gargantia. And this card is a clock suicider, however, only for level 0s, and yeah, level 0 clock suicider, but it's a level 1, so it's kind of stupid, but it's 3k power. So the Alkanoid is it's a funny card, but definitely not too good, because like I said, it's a level 0 suicider, but it's a level 1 card. If it was a level 1 clock suicider, then that's a different story. But no, it's only level 0. It's a level 0 clock suicider at level 1, so kind of a bummer. Anyways, I think the Alkanoid is fairly lackluster. And because of that, I think this Climax combo is a little lackluster as well, because you pay 1, and then you search your deck for 3 Alkanoids, and then you place them onto separate borders of your stage. Kind of weird how you grab 3, because you put, because she has to be in the front row, so you put, the other 2 in the front row, and then you play the last one in the back row. That's kind of dumb, but I guess, next turn you can move him up to the front. But anyways, yeah. So that's it. Her second effect is okay. She gets plus 3k when she's fighting a level 3. Very relevant nowadays, since most decks run a level 3 that comes out at level 2. Very, very relevant. So, but however, she's a little weak. She's only 10k, so she's probably gonna get backed up, or she might not even be able to kill the opponent's opposite character. So, I like this ability in cards where they're anti-level 3s on level 2s, like the new Iori from Guilty Crown. Not Iori, Inori from Guilty Ground, like the level 2 Hanayo, the level 2 Mikon. I really like card effects like that, but this one I'm not too sure about, because she's missing the music trait, and she's only 10k. She's not 11k or 10.5. She's only 10k, and most level 3s are 10k at the very least, so she's gonna need a little help. So overall, this card is okay. It's kind of once again it's for the alchemy decks. This one's not as cool as the other ones in my opinion. I think the other one's actually really solid. This one is alright. You grab the Alkanoises. If you're running a lot of Alkanoises in your deck, then I think this card can work out. If you're not running any Alkanoids, which I don't blame you for, then this of course sucks. But I assume you do have to run some Alkanoids in some shape or form, because this is only like, if you run 4 of each, so there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, let's say you're running this 24, that's only 24 characters, so you might have to fill up the rest of the deck with more of these Alkanoises. So if you're doing that, then I guess this Climax combo is not too shabby. But I do believe next week we're seeing more alchemy characters, so I don't think you'll have to do that. But if you are running Alkanoids, then I think this Climax combo is fairly solid, because you pay 1 and you grab 3 characters, so it's fairly cost efficient. But you're grabbing 3 very lackluster characters, so do keep that in mind. Anyways, last day, right? That was the last card, right? Yeah, okay, just making sure. Last day, 3/2 11k double R 3 soul once again. How she used to shine Maria, music and weapon. So when this card is placed from hand to stage or via change, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a music character, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. Very common ability by now, and fairly solid. The second ability, I think, is what totally kills the card. It could have had such a better effect. When this card declares an attack, you can pay cost, which is choose 2 characters in your waiting room, choose 2 characters in your waiting room, and return them to your deck. Then shuffle your deck. If you do, she gets plus 1k until the end of your opponent's next turn. And once again, she has the same Ignite module effect as all the others. During the start of your Encore phase, if you do not have Ignite module in your memory, place this card to your waiting room. I guess we should talk about her change first. So 2/1, 7k uncommon, Seaside, Training Maria, music and weapon. So when this card is placed from your hand to stage, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a music character, add it to your hand to discard a card. And it has a change to the level 3. So it's during the start of your climax phase, you can pay cost, which is pay 2, discard which is discard 2 music characters from your hand to the waiting room. If you do, choose 1 How She Used to Shine Maria from your waiting room and place it to the original border of this card. Well, first I guess we should talk about Maria, because if she's not good, there's no point in running the changer. So Maria, just like her other red double R friend, she is 11k base, and she has 3 soul, which, like I said, is hit or miss. The 3 soul is definitely hit or miss. She has a good on-play ability. On-play, if you reveal a music character, you can deal 1 to your opponent. A little iffy in this set, because this set does have a lot of events. Like, they have the Ignite modules. If you're running this Maria, you definitely have to run the Ignite module, so you're running 4 of those Ignite modules. By the time you're level 3, you have at least 1 of those in memory. Ideally, you have at least 1 of those in memory. Maybe 2. But you are running events in this set in some shape or form, so her first effect is a little, it's a bit more iffy as compared to other sets like Shin-Chan, right? Yeah, Shin-Chan has that. Love Live. Some Love Live decks don't run events, so Love Live also has this. And the Chieri from Idolmaster, some of them don't run events as well. So this one, you have to run events though, so her first effect is maybe a little iffy, but I'm sure it can work out. So her first effect is really, really good. Definitely on play burn 1 is very good. Gets around anti-damage and helps you plan your attacks accordingly before battle phase. Really solid. Her second effect though is just terrible. Why would you use this at level 3? Of course, just like the level 0 Honoka, if you guys watch my Love Life deck profiles, I've talked about this a million times, but I guess I'll just say it again really quickly. The level 0 Honoka Suicider from the first booster has an effect just like this, and I really like that level 0 Honoka from the first booster, because how I think you should be using this ability is so when you attack with this Maria, for example, if you have 1 card left in deck, you choose 2 characters in your waiting room and you put them back to the deck, and then you shuffle it, and then that way when you attack, if you're getting 3 attacks in, now you have 3 cards in your deck, because you had 1 previously, but once you attack, you gain 2 more cards in your deck. Now you have 3 cards left in your deck, and if you're having 3 attacks, since you put 2 characters in your waiting room back to the deck, 2 of those cards are at least clean, and if the last card in your deck is a character as well, that's 3, you gain 2 extra clean stock before refreshing, which does help your compress by 2, so I think that's how you should be using this ability. But On a level 0, like Honoka, I think it's really good because the Honoka acts as a suicider and a situationally awesome secondary ability. This Maria though, like like I said with the Honoka, getting that situation off is once again very situational. It's not gonna happen every game. It might not, yeah, like it happens maybe once a game. It might not even happen at all. So this Maria having that secondary ability, I think it's just awful. It's like you're gonna be using this maybe once every 3 games, 2 games, once every like 2 or 3 or 4 games, and it's just stupid. Like such a bad secondary effect. Something that you're only gonna be using maybe once every 3 games. I really wish it just had another ability. Like, and she even has the downside of sending herself to memory or sending herself to the waiting room because of the Ignite module. Yeah, she has the 3 soul on the 11k. I mean, in the end, she's a solid card because she's 11k power and she's 3 soul and she has the on play burn. That's what's most important. But it it, it just kind of hurts me that she has in my opinion, a fairly dumb secondary ability. I really wish they gave her something else. But like I said, in the end, she's totally playable because she does have the on play burn. It just kind of bugs me. But what can you do? I just kind of wish they gave her a better secondary effect. Anyways, because I think the level 3 Maria is good, the level 2 Maria changer now becomes more viable. She has a pretty decent on-play ability. On-play, you can reveal top if that's a music character. You can add it to your hand and discard a card. I kind of wish this was. I kind of wish the first ability was look at top and leave it there, put it to the waiting room. I think that would have been better because that way you can synergize it with the level 3 Maria. But if it's a music character, you have to add it to your hand and discard a card. I just wish there was like the level 2 changer from Railgun, the level 2 that changes to the level 3 Misakuro, the one that checks on top, that checks on play, and then you can leave it there or put it to the waiting room. I think that would have been way better for the level 3 Maria because that way, if you decide to change in the same turn, you can kind of guarantee the level 3's ability. And even at level 3, you can play the level 2 before playing the level 3 to guarantee the burn once again. But unfortunately, it's not like that. I think it's kind of dumb. And like this hand fix ability is already in the set, especially with the level 0 Tsubasa. So, yeah, kind of a bummer, but in the end, that's just me like rambling, and I think that's just me complaining. But still, it's a fairly solid first effect, so it's a solid first effect. Her change is very hand intensive. You have to discard 2 music characters for her to get the ability off. Very hand intensive, and I don't really think it's quite worth it. The burn 1 starting at level 2 isn't that scary, and it might not even go off. And you might not even have an Ignite module by then, but you probably will. But anyways, so I don't think the burn 1 is that devastating at level 2. So I don't really think you need to change into level 3 at level 2. But if you do, I think it can be pretty good because she's 11k, but most importantly, she's also 3 soul. So because she's 3 soul, which is 1 soul higher than than all the other level 3s that come out of level 2 in like all of Weiss Schwarz, she can cause a lot of damage just by attacking constantly, because she is 3 soul at level 2. So I think for that reason it's kind of cool. But honestly, it's very hand intensive, and the on play isn't that strong, and she's still susceptible to anti-change and bounce and suiciders. Well, that was awkward. My computer ran out of space, so I had to make some space. So cut off my recording. But anyways, I don't exactly remember where I was, but I do think I was gonna mention that I do think the level 3 Tsubasa is still a better choice for a level 3 that can come out of level 2 because it's more resource efficient. So in the end, I don't think this change is really necessary. I do think it has potential though, because when you change into the level 3 at level 2, the on play is like okay, you burn 1, that's no big deal, but you get to start dealing 3 soul damage to your opponent at level 2, which is pretty ridiculous. I don't think any other level 3 that can come out of level 2 in Weiss Schwarz can attack for 3 soul base. So I think for that reason, I think that's pretty cool. So in the end, I do think this has potential just because she is attacking for 3 soul and she's 11k base, but once again, she's still susceptible to all the anti level 3 shenanigans. But I do think it has potential, but as of right now, I think the Tsubasa is better, and I think I'll leave it at that. And lastly, for Dog Day, since this is the last day for Dog Day, they are just showing off the signs. The Covert, really good card. Miyahi, really good card. Leo, good card. Rebecca, good card. Runner, good card. All these cards are just really good. So really good signs in this set. And that's it for this week, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, this is the last week for Dog Days, and overall, I think Dog Days as a whole, or I think this extra booster as a whole, I think it was fairly solid extra booster. They introduced a new color in blue. Kind of surprising, none of the blue cards got signs. Like, it's just red, yellow, green. Kind of surprising since blue is new. And that Shadow character was pretty cute, but no blue signs. But overall, like I said, they introduced a new color, and the blue color does seem fairly solid. Brings a new archetype with the blue-green deck. So adds a little more flavor with a new deck and new color. And all the existing colors did get a little extra boost to them. Like I said, the level 0 Covert and the level 3 Rebecca game plan I think is a fairly solid one, and both of those cards are fairly solid as well. So yellow got a pretty good boost with that, along with like the level 0 like Reminiscence Fee combo wombo thing. So yellow got some pretty cool cards. Red got some pretty cool cards, especially this level 0 Miyahi. Really good card as well. Green got a clock kicker and a runner and a pretty good 1-0 combo with the gold bar. So overall, every color got a pretty good boost to it. And also this set brought some extra spice, like I said, the red color or the blue color, and then like the red blue archetype deck, and then like the Reminiscence V. So a little extra spice and a little extra boost to all the colors. Definitely can't complain. I think overall this is a solid extra booster for the set. Will it make the set as strong as all the other sets, like Girlfriend Beta, Two Lover Darkness, Kontai? I don't think so. I don't think this extra booster brought enough to the set. I do think it was a good extra booster, but like I said, I don't think it's gonna make the set S tier. Maybe like low A tier at best. At best is what I'm gonna leave it at. So still good, but still got some kinks to work out. But not every set can be not every new set can be an S tier deck, and we don't really want that. Not that healthy for the game. But overall, like always, I'll do a little wrap up. So 1-1 Covert, really good level assist, really good synergy with the level 3. Not too sure on this card. I think it's pretty bad. Chris, I think it's really solid. Really good effects. I just really wish it was a gate, man. Can you imagine, like, your opponent's like at 3-4, you play 3 level 3 Chris's, play the gate if it was a gate, and then side burn 1, or and your opponent has 3 level 3s. Side burn 1, or side burn 1, attack deal 1, side burn 1, attack deal 1, side burn 1, attack deal 1. That would have been so cool. But no, it's a 2k1. But it being a 2k1 also has its benefits. But overall, very solid card. And this Chris is ultra sexy. Ignite module, very solid Ignite module. Solid event. Not too solid. A green event, I'm not really a fan of it. Really good combo. Really good combo. This and the 1-0 Hibiki double R, just an excellent level 1 game plan already for the yellow decks. Along with the level 1 Suicider for in red. And like those 3, man, just so good, so efficient. Next up, really solid utility Tsubasa. I think it's overshadowed or outclassed. Was this Anyway, outclassed. Leo, not a fan. Lure, really like the alchemy cards. I think it's a ton of fun and it has some pretty good synergy to it. Sinku, solid. Aria. Solid card, but maybe a little overshadowed by something like Covert and Miyahi. We'll have to see, but as a standalone card, I think it's really solid. Carol, solid, really fun, interesting boss monster for the alchemy cards. For the alchemy deck, I should say. Carol, she's got the anti-level 3, kind of like an anti-level 3 thing, which is cool. And she's got the whole Alkanoise thing. If you're running plenty of Alkanoises, I guess this is an okay combo because it's pretty resource efficient. But next week we'll see more alchemy cards, so maybe you won't have to run any Alkanoise at all. Last day, Maria, I just really wish she had a better second effect, but she is still definitely very playable and still a solid card in the end. And the Changer, I just wish there was like a on-play check top. I think that would have been a lot better synergy instead of the whole reveal top add to hand. But what can you do? So yeah, like I said, guys, a solid week, a very solid and good week for Symphogear, and the final week for Dog Days. I think next week we're starting the new Unlimited Blade Works set for uh, Fate Stay Night, so that should be very interesting. So I hope you guys look forward to it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I kept you guys here long enough, and until next time.